Now where did I put that? Alright, welcome back to Dallas County Iron. As I suggested, I'm going to be doing, I'm trying not to fall over things that are still on the floor. I'm going to try to get the fuel line fixed on this motorcycle of mine. I really want to drive it back and forth to work. It gets much better gas mileage than my truck. Anyway, so do a little walk around here, show you what I got. So this is a 2004 V-Star 1100. I had to put on my old windshield. I got one on order. It'll be here middle of the week. Yes. I have another sticker. And I might have another one of those. I was part of the OIF thing. Where we're at now is I had already taken the seat off, and of course that's the back seat. In the past I put on these saddlebags and wired lights for them. Let me see if I can get you turned around and see those. Put those lights in the back there, and there should be some, if you can see them. I can't even see what I'm doing right now. Yeah, there's the other lights. But yeah, I've had this since 2005. It had like 4,000 miles on it, and now it's got like 20,000. Runs really good, except for the fact that when it warms up, it cuts out. And again, I've had this since 2005. And I haven't replaced any of the fuel lines or anything. So I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, we need to do that. Because it'll run until it warms up, and then all of a sudden it decides it doesn't want to run. And that's my first attempt on this, see what's going on with that. So I'll get you set up on the tripod, and we'll start tearing things apart, see what's going on here. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this cover off. That means I got to rescue my keys from my pocket. And once we get that done, I can show you just what's going on in here. I had to save my old key because it's the only thing that operates certain things like this. Fun fact, I lost them. And I couldn't get in here. So you unlock it, pull it apart. Maybe. Oh, that one goes that way. And remember how things go together. So you got to slide this forward, and then you or back, and then you snap the top in, and then you lock it. If you can get the key out. There we go. That's out of here. Now I can put that somewhere where I'll drop it on the floor, and hopefully this microphone's working. All right, so in here you find your fuse box and your tool bag and your fuel pump. And in here somewhere is a bunch of fuel lines, and I'm gonna have to dig around here and find out where they're all at. But I know there's one up underneath the tank here that I got to take the tank off. And I got to turn the steering wheel straight. Oh, I found the other ring. And then we'll find out where the gas line's at. I think I've already found it. It goes up here to a filter, and then it goes in back behind there. So that'll be fun to get to. All right, let's get at it. It's a 12 millimeter bolt which I should have a socket for it in this mess. To get the tank off. Let's see if I can find that real quick. And I think this is a, come on, let go, there we go. You're my friend again. And I just picked this up somewhere. Cheap little tool set. Hey, 12 millimeter, first try, look at that. And this, of course, I'm going to leave in the bike, so I have a toolbox or a tool set, some kind of tool set. Alright, I need that little adapter thingy, because why wouldn't I? Come on now. Or I could just use that. Forgot I had a 1/4 inch ratchet sitting up here. Alright, so there's 2 bolts here. One there and one there. Hopefully you can see where I'm pointing at. I take those off. And then the fight comes where you gotta wrestle it. Say, what did I do? Use an impact on that? No, use the 3/8 drive ratchet. There's one. Drop that where we'll never see it again. Did have to find another 10 millimeter bolt to put this bracket that I'm taking off. Had to put it back on the bottom of the tank because apparently I lost that one. Fortunately, I have done some work on modern vehicles, so I didn't have to deal with that or look too hard for it. There's also this plastic clip here. You got to take it apart because it attaches to all the electronics up on the dash. So we'll get that done next. See if you guys can see me doing anything here. Make sure I step on all my plastic boxes so I can break them. Because you know, that's what you do when you work on stuff. It also helps that there ain't no dang room around here to do anything. Now, let's turn the steering wheel. Something like that. Get that up out of the road, then you just pull up on them. Fuel tank, wiggle it out, kind of do that. Hope you don't drop it on the floor. Doesn't help that it's full of gas, because I thought I had something going here. It's one of those little cheesy clips that I had a pair of pliers for. I'm sure that's going to bleed all over the floor now. Of course, I don't have a light to see what I'm doing. I didn't bring one with me. There, that come off good enough. This will probably come off real easy and bleed all over the floor. There we go. As you can tell, that doesn't bend very easy. There's this little heat protector sleeve. I'm sure won't fit anything that I have. All right, let's get this tank out of the road a minute. I have to move you guys. Hopefully this is working. I suppose I should have checked it first, but you know, why do that when you can do other stuff? Alright, 3.5 gallons isn't all that bad. I need to clean my bike. Alright, now that we're all done tearing that off, I've had to do some rewiring of stuff. So I tore that all apart. This may or may not have a clip on it. Nope, it sure don't. That means this will come out real easy. And now we can see all of our lines. What's this? I may have to take more things apart. Okay, that goes both sides of the tank. It's going to take a little more time than I thought. But anyway, we're going to replace all of this. And see what we can do. See if we can make something work better. This must be return or something. I don't know. Again, I'm a master at nothing. But I have ideas. I wonder if that was supposed to be up here instead of back there. What is this? Oh, that's cable. Alright, so it can look like it's broken and not cause problems. That's good. Alright, our next step is right down here. All this has got to come off, I think. Let's pull this out of the road and see what we got. I wonder if that's full. Oh, crap. That might be the next thing to check. See how full of garbage my filter is. I think this has got to come out so I can get the things. Alright, let me do some investigating. Find out what all I need to tear apart and remove. Oh, that might even have to come off. I've had it off before, chasing troubles. I burned up a few fuses on this, so that's been fun. Alright, let me shut you off for a minute. I'm going to do some looking so you're not bored watching me just do stuff. Which, you know, once I have an idea, I can tell you what my idea is. This is interesting. Why is that loose? Anyway, I will be back in a minute. Anyway, so it's all running again. One of the problems I had is I would start it up and it wouldn't run very long. I had to adjust the choke and everything, and nothing seemed to work right. Obviously, we have an issue with the filter because it was nasty. But anyhow, this old girl's running again. I can take it to work and save money on fuel and just have a good time riding the bike. And then we'll see how long these tires hold up. They've been there for a minute. I'm sure it's going to ride like ass until they start getting around again. Fortunately, nothing's cracked, so we can run these for a while until I can afford to buy new ones. They're about as pricey as car tires, so, you know, specialized stuff. But there's a lot of tread left on them, so I'll run them for a while. But next thing is going to be an oil change, and that's basically, there's a bolt on the bottom of the motor, drains the oil out. Obviously that's the fill area. And over here somewhere, mind the fingers again, that guy right there is the filter. So it really isn't hard to do. I just gotta get the parts for it, but it's a good start. I'm extremely happy to get this thing running again and running right. Makes me very, very happy. I actually enjoy riding motorcycles, mind the finger again. The only bad thing about using your cell phone is you put your finger somewhere and the phone gets it. So anyhow, yeah, that coil of wires there is for a trunk on the back. They haven't figured out how to weld a piece to put it on there, but that might be coming. And again, I might have to buy different saddlebags because those are getting beat up. I think there's a crack in one of them from me trying to get through the gate up front. But it went through the gate before, but then I didn't have saddlebags on it. Or I did, I had the leather ones. Those were nice, but they fell apart pretty quick. But anyhow, this is where we're at. And I'll do an oil change on it. Put the new windshield in. It should be here next week. And probably start driving the thing. Yay, happiness. Okay, we're back at the bike. I got to change the oil on it after I got that filter replaced. Which, you know, I haven't driven it for 5 years-ish. Because of the fueling problem, which only took me that many years to figure it out. So we're going to change the oil. I'm going to bring it down there. Don't mind the shaky hand. I'm going to show you how to do this. And it's going to be different on every motorcycle you get. But for the 1100 Yamaha, they made these for 10 years. So it's going to be the same for this engine. So here we go. Okay, right there, I can get my hand on it. Somewhere in this area, yeah, there it is a 17 millimeter bolt that you have to take out. Now, there's not a whole lot of clearance because I've got it on the ground. I can't put it on my lift because my other bike's on the lift. So I'm going to reach in here, break that loose, use my handy dandy drain pan. I just happen to have laying here, because why not? And we'll drain the oil. Something else, yes, I'm very comfortable. Something else is there is a sight glass, and there's supposed to be an upper and lower mark on there. You want to be about the middle of that sight glass when you've got it filled up. Which means I'm going to have to level this thing out and get it set up. But for now, we're going to drain the oil. And then I'm going to show you what else you got to take off to change the filter. All right, let me get the bolt loose and we get that draining. Okay, first thing I'm noticing, that's more than 3 quarts of oil. And I bet if I lit a match, it would burn. I smell a lot of gas in it, which means I either forgot to turn off the petcock on the gas tank, or we got a big issue going on here. Probably the fact that it hasn't been run for a long time. Might need the rings to come back. It's not smoking or anything, but it's definitely running rich, so let's hope that it's just the ring issue and not the guy that I had work on it screwed it up, which apparently, from what I've been told, he's ruined more Harley-Davidson engines than Harley-Davidson made. That's probably not true, but I know that he's had people really pissed off at him, and I can see why now. Next thing I got to do, unfortunately, but it is part of taking this, changing the oil, so I've got to take the exhaust off, which there's 2 bolts there, and I don't remember that heat shield's got to come off first, which I think it does. It's been a while since I've changed the oil on this thing, so I mean there's that. And it does have 20,000 miles on it, so I'm sure I've forgotten to turn the gas off, and I know I have. So that's probably 9/10 of it right there. Just remember, you got to take care of your stuff. So I'm hoping all I got to do is take this bolt, and then there's one way back in there. I believe they're 12 millimeter. I will check that to make sure. I know I've got, if I can get up here. Was able to push the motorcycle out a little bit, but it's not going to go through with the saddlebags on, so I'm going to take those off, which is only 7 or 8 bolts per bag, but it's got to be done. Anyway, so down here, after I knock all this stuff off, oh, I got to take them both out. Maybe I can just slide this out without having to take the entire exhaust manifold off, or the exhaust off. But this bar is going to come off because there are 2 Allen bolts, one down there and one way down there, and one I think I can get to right there, but the one on the bottom just can't get. I want this in the road, because I don't think I can. No, you can't. Thought I'd sneak through here, but there's just no way. So I'll bring you back when I get that out. They say these are, where are we at? There it is. They say they're number 5s, Allen heads. I don't remember what this little cover's for. I think it's just to be pretty, because I remember taking it off once and thinking, why the hell did they put bolts in it? Anyway, so you got to take that all apart. So let me get that done. I'll drop you on the floor, and I'll bring you back. Now you can see the exhaust is completely off. Now we can get to all these bolts. That one way down here with, yes, I haven't driven this for a while, and it's sat some time outside. So you can see that bolt, or Allen head, fun to get to, but now we got them free so we can get them apart. Now, from what I've been, or remember, these are all different length. These top 2 are the same length. This one in the middle here is a little longer, and that one on the bottom and that one on the side, they're a little bit longer. So we'll get them pulled off and we'll show you what we got to do. All right, so I got her cleaned up a little bit. Got some of the white junk out, and you'll notice there's only one way this goes in because of the way it's shaped. So you just kind of give it a toss and wiggle it back in there. Obviously it came out easier than it's going to go in, which I don't understand, but it should just pop in there. All right, let me get that foot into place. I'll be right back. So I've got it wiggled into place, and effectively that's what I did, just kind of wiggle it. You don't want to force it because then you're going to put a burr on something, and that's just going to cause problems later. So let me get the cover put on. We'll start tightening bolts. Just a heads up before we get going. These two bolts, this one is the shorter one, and that's the longer one. That goes on the bottom, that goes on the side. And that guy's kind of long. Where is he? There he is, down there. But he doesn't have the sleeve on it like these guys do. And of course these top ones are just a little shorty guys, so kind of have to make sure you put them all in the same place, otherwise it's not going to seal. So let's get that done. Okay, as you can see through my finger, get everything back on. I did use that Allen wrench because that number 5 was stripping out the head, so I had to get something to go in better. I used it on that one and that one, but got everything else tightened up. Now we'll put that bolt back in, start dumping oil in. Okay, got the exhaust on. I warmed up the motorbike, let it run a little bit. They say 15 seconds is enough, so I let it go a little longer than that. I'll check the oil here in a minute, but as you see by the front, something ain't right. These have been out in the sun for as long as I've owned it, which is about 20 years. And the little rubber thing finally said, "Eat me, I'm a ho-ho." So it dried up and cracked. Fortunately, these little wires here are the ones that I plug in, and they're easy to replace. So I went online and bought me these cheapies. Now I don't drop everything I want to keep on the floor. I guess the little rubber stuff that goes on the inside's in there. Let's see, does it matter which way they go? I guess we'll find out. That looks like it's upright. Anyway, so there are white lights in there for extra driving lights, and then there are amber lights and sequential lights. And we're going to put those on. Basically, we're going to take those screws out, put the little rubber gasket around the side, and tighten them down. And then we're going to run these wires. Hopefully they're long enough. Back up in here and plug them into those. And then I can put my light bulb back in. Wherever I lost it at, it's over there. That's just 2 screws through them holes. There it is. And that big black plug in there. Hardest part's plugging it in. Once you get that done, it goes right in. So, give me a minute and I'll get us set up, and I'll let you watch me do it. All right, I try to stay out of your way as much as I can. But here we go. Already taken the bolt out back here. There's another one over here. We'll go ahead and start with this one, I think. That's how easy that is. Obviously, the little pieces that go in, the male connector goes into the female connector, is smaller. Why wouldn't it be? So I'll get the other side in, and hopefully I'll show you the end result where I've got lights. We'll see how that works. We have successes. All the lights come on. Let me jump up here a minute. Got my turn signals. I did have the sequential before I hooked the driving lights up, but they're gone now. So at least I'm going to have bright lights and probably piss off everybody driving up to me, but motorcycles be seen and heard. That's why my exhaust is so loud, even though when I bought this thing, someone had already cut the baffles out of it, so I didn't do that, but I didn't change it. I don't mind the noise, it's just me breaking stuff. And as you can see, it's empty. There'd usually be a little something in here, but I can feel where they ground it off. So there's nothing there. All right, my next project, getting these off and hoping that plate will slide through somewhere. And that other plate will. If not, I gotta take all of this off and then put it back on. So, like I said, if I could get that frame out, I'd be possibly in a better shape. I don't know. Right now, this is what I got. Just enough room to get the bike out. And maybe if I hold my teeth right, I can get it to go through. So, let's get the bags off and probably just pick you up after I get it outside, because you don't need to see an old man struggling to get a motorcycle out. Or maybe you do. I don't know, I might film it anyway. Yes, I'm old. Video it. Well, we have issues. One, it doesn't want to start. Yeah, all the garbage laying around. I need to clean again. So I'm gonna have to take the tank off and maybe see if I got fuel going anywhere. I know I've got it coming from the pump all the way through the filter. Should be going all the way through to the carburetors. So I may have to take the carburetors off. Take a look at those, see what's going on. The other issue is I've got my side marker lights don't light up anymore. So I've got to take the fender off and check all that out. So I will get to it here in a minute. I got to move things first. Okay, so I've determined my problem electrically is not actually a problem, because there's only 2 wires going to these lights, which is turn signal and ground. I, for some reason, thought that these lights came on just like the front lights do, but these are not the same bulbs. And I do not recall, because it's been a day or two, if I've changed anything, but I don't know if you can see, but this group of wires here goes to the lights. So there's a black and a brown, and that's the wiring harness for everything else. And there's another one in there that's got black and green. So that tells me these lights never came on, which in my mind, I thought they did. Maybe it's another motorcycle. Not entirely certain because, not a motorcycle mechanic. But the evidence is showing me that those are just turn signals. And the only light that comes on is going to be my brake light. Now, I did have an idea that I was going to put a big trunk behind the sissy bar that I had up here, which is laying behind me on the floor. And I do have that all wired in down here. But since I don't have that, I don't have the lights that would have been up here somewhere. So we're going to put this all back together, tape up bare wires and things, and leave it the way it is until I can figure a different way to do things. But for now, it's going to have to be the way it is. I am going to get into the carburetor here in a little bit, and we will find out why I'm not getting fuel, or if I'm getting fuel, why it's not going where it's supposed to go, or why there's no spark, or if there is. I'll test the spark too and see if that's something going on there. I do have one of those little spark tester thingies that I can use real quick as soon as I find it again. But that's kind of where we're at right now. So I'm going to put this all back together. As you can tell, there's 3 bolts go in back here. You can see one of the holes. And they're hard to get to unless you take the fender off, which I'll flip that over. You can tell I've done this before and it's torn up the paint. But this is also an old bike, so maybe someday we'll put paint on it again. I don't know if that'll happen soon or not. It's one of those things that's not high on my priority list. But that's where we're at with the electrical. Problem solved. I did have to fix a couple of my plugs here. I actually cut the wiring loom and made easy disconnects, but a couple of those pulled off, so I've changed a few. I'll get that all taped up and protected and get this all put back on, which involves me putting the sissy bar back on and my tow bar. The only reason why there's one of those on there is because I had a what they called a field cross for military purposes. I think I might have shown you a picture of it earlier, but I was part of the American Legion Riders and Patriot Guard at one time, and we did funerals on motorcycles. So I carried the field cross. I may actually have a picture I can put on here showing you what it looked like on the one we took from, there used to be a VA hospital in a town about 30 miles away from here, and there were some remains of Air Force, Marines, Army, and Navy, and we took all of those and put them in the veteran cemetery. So this bike was part of that, and it looked pretty good. Like I said, I'll dig that picture out and we'll put it up on here somewhere, and you'll get to see what this bike looked like about 18 years ago. So anyhow, it's finished fixing this thing, and hopefully we can get it running. I do like riding this thing. It's comfortable, got the power I need. And once we get the fueling issue figured out, and hopefully that's only it, because I did take it somewhere locally. Unfortunately, I don't think he did a very good job. One, he didn't figure out the fuel filter was plugging up. So we will continue on continuing on. Just a side note here, this metal plate has to come off to get the light bulb out, and it's still quite a fight to get this out, but if you don't have this off, it's not coming out. You have to push down and then turn, and it's quite a fight. Like I said, I had to take this fender off anyway, but to get it done, I had to push down on one hand and turn with the other one. And that was quite an issue. But we got it done, got the light bulb pulled out, and then I compared it with the front one that does come on all the time. But this is a different style. This is an 1156, which is, you can tell maybe that it's only got one element in it. And the studs go across evenly across the bottom, and I'll show you on this one. These are the studs I'm talking about. See how that one's lower and this one's higher? And this one has two elements in it. One's for the turn signal and one's just for the marker light. This one only has one element in it. Right there. And so it doesn't come on, it just does the blinky thing. Like I said, I may actually see what I can find online to replace that. Or since I replaced the front ones with those LED things, maybe I'll see if I can't rewire this and cut a chunk off the one that I had because I needed a longer wire up here. But maybe I'll see if I can't get those swapped so I can have the lights back here on all the time too. Yeah, I'll take a look at that before I put it all together. But my main concern is getting this running so I can revisit this later. So right now I'm just going to put it all back together, leave the fender off until I get that figured out, and then I'll play with the other fixture. They're basically the same thing, just this one's only got 2 wires, the other one's got 3, and of course that makes that light come on. I kind of want that, so we'll see what we can do here. Again, more importantly, let's get this thing running. I don't know if you can see it, but to get this cover off, there are like 8 screws you gotta take off, and then 1 bolt at the back. And then you get the bottom half of the, whatever it's called, plenum. And you gotta take that screw loose and that screw loose on both sides. There's 2 carburetors. And pull that out. And then you got all these other little things you gotta disconnect. Probably just take that choke cable off. Take that vent hose off. Get that other piece out of there. And then 4 bolts. Should get this out, and I'll pull the bottom end of the carburetor apart and see what's going on there. This tube right here, it's an overflow. So we will see what we can see without totally dismantling this thing. We'll go from there. Okay, took the carburetor off and took it apart and cleaned it. There was some orange dirt in the bottom of the bowls, which are hiding somewhere. Probably where I put this bag. There they are. Floats look good and everything. The needles actually don't look that bad. The only problem is I lost one of the springs and then the other one was never there. So I'm waiting on parts. It'll be here tomorrow. But I'm working tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll get back to that. Also, had to go get some new bolts for that cover because one of them was missing. So I bought 2 brand new ones and a whole $2 worth. And I also noticed that these are pretty much toast. So I ordered those. They'll be here at the same time. Also, there's a little, you see this piece here? You could see that piece there. It goes in right here and obviously pulled out. So we're going to replace those and get those working properly. And once I get the rebuild kit for the carburetor, we'll get the new needles in and the springs and everything and get that set up again. Reason why I took them off is I noticed that after I tested the fuel flow, make sure it was getting to the carburetors, it was overflowing. And I'm assuming since that spring was missing, that was probably all of my problems. So we're gonna get that replaced, get that put on, and in the interim, I'm going to take my front indicator lights that have the 3 wires going. If I can get it unstuck. Anyway, I'm going to take those turn signal lights and put them in the back so I have lights there too. And then I'm going to set up my trunks or my saddlebags. I don't know that I can with those, honestly. We'll see what happens. I know they work for turn signals. I'd like for them to light up as well, but they're only 2 wires, and I don't know that they'll work with the 3-wire system. I don't think they'll flash, so that could be a problem. Something I can work on, but that's what we're going to do. And let's get this unstuck a minute. So these are fairly simple. You just take this off, take the bolt out, take this little sleeve out of here, or this, whatever this piece of metal is for. And they're supposed to pull right out. Now, last time I tried this, it didn't pull right out. But since these are junk now, I can cut the hell out of them and get them to come apart. But those up there are still good, so I don't want to cut on those. So we will have to do some investigating and find out what's going on. But once that's done, I'll at least have side marker lights that turn on in the back here like I think they're supposed to. I don't remember, since it's been a long time since I did all this wiring work on the back, why these don't light up anymore in the back here. I don't know if I swapped them. I don't remember what I did. I really don't remember taking them apart to do that. But we're going to see if we can't swap everything over and make this work the way I want it to. So I will bring you back in once I have more definitive information, and we will go from there. Okay, just give you a blow by blow. There's these little clips that screw in here. And I think the other one, I don't remember where I took it off. Oh, there it is. Goes in right down here. And it holds everything into place, and then the wire goes in there. I did take this all off. It was 4 screws. One there, and then 2 that go through the body and end up bolting where? Right there. And right up there. And then I think there were 2 more. Go in here and here. But once I got them out, this whole housing for the brake light and everything, it just falls right out. So now we're going to pull this apart. I did find out that this little piece of metal is just basically a locator is attached to this arm, and you just wiggle it off and slide it back on, and everything's pointing the right direction. So now we know what that is. I've had it off before, but like I said, it was years ago. And you know, I've slept a time or two since then, and that resets your memory. Apparently, that's what I've been told. So anyway, that's what we're going with. So I will continue pulling this apart, and what I'm going to do is I cut the ends off of here since they're already hooked up and they're attached to the wires that go to the lights on the saddlebags. So I'm just going to splice those into the wires on the other light, which was laying here half a minute ago, and now it's ran away, screaming, most likely. So, again, we will get back at it. Okay, we've got updates. As you can tell, I've pulled things back apart again. All my fuel lines are dangling over here because I suspected that my coils were in a bad way. Now you can see this guy. This is my coil wire. I'm gonna have to get it jammed up here or something with a zip tie, keep it out of the road. But I did the test, and the positive, I believe it's positive, to the, come on brain, where the spark plug goes in, is supposed to be about 19 ohms. Well, of course, with the cap that I yanked off of there, it was down to like 11. So I'm assuming that coil's junk. So I decided to replace it. And in replacing, you'll find that you've got to take this plate off, which means you got to take that head bolt and that head bolt off, and they are Herculean tight. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I don't even know if I can show you. Underneath here, underneath all these wires, there's a couple more bolts I got to take off so I can do the other side. And this would be the wire, I believe. And it goes in pretty much the same spot. It's going to be a little more difficult to get to because of all that stuff in the road. So, this is probably an engine out thing, but I'm not taking the engine out. So, I will fight with this for another couple of hours until I give up and try again tomorrow when I'm not working. But I'm going to get those replaced, and then I'm going to put that kit in that carburetor. And as soon as I find out what I did with that kit, I put it somewhere. I know I did. Anyway, it'll show up. But that's the update we have for today. I do have the new ones of these. Once I get that coil slap back in there, I'll replace those. Then we get back to that. Like I said, as soon as I find out where I put everything, because I don't know why, but there just isn't any room in here anymore. This used to be clean. Then I put a car in it. But anyway, we're going to continue on with this until we can't continue on anymore, then we'll keep continuing. Back for more. Well, I got one of the coils changed, and I didn't do the other one because this bolt right here, the nut, will not come off without pulling the engine out. So we're just gonna hold off on that other coil and hope and pray it still works, because I don't feel like pulling all this out right now. So we'll start working on that carburetor after I put all this back together. I've got to put these relays back in the way they're supposed to go. and then I can start working on the rest of it. So I'll get you caught up when I start working on the carburetor. I'll be back in a few. So we're going to start here with a manifold gasket thing. Take him off. These are pretty simple. They've got an O-ring on them. You just got to take 2 bolts out, swap them. Take this little keeper clamp off and then swap it to the other one. And then when you go to put the carburetors back in, it's usually a good idea to put some kind of lubricant on it. Gear oil, motor oil, anything slippery. It's designed to have fuel vapors pass through it, so it should honestly not be a problem no matter what you put on it. Now, standing on my head barking like a chicken, I'll find this other, there it is, find the other bolt. And that's about all the harder it is getting that off. Now, if only the process of putting the carburetor back on was this simple. Definitely easier on a car. You don't have to worry about trying to get through the rubber gasket and stuff. And this would be much easier to put on if the bolt didn't bottom out on the bottom part of the carburetor. You know, oh, this might be a problem. Looks like I got a little bit of a leak. Yeah, that got hot. Well, considering how dry cracked and everything they are, it's a good thing I'm replacing them. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm replacing the seat for the needle, which there's a Phillips screw right here, and then there's the seat itself. This is the new one. You can see maybe how the O-ring is out past the body of the seat. If I can find what I did with the other one. This O-ring is smooth. It's even with the edge of the body. That is not what you want to do. That will allow fluid to flow right past that and overfill your bowl and cause problems like filling your crankcase full of gasoline, which is what happened when I changed the oil. So we're going to swap those, and I've already pulled it out, and I had to use a needle nose to pull it out. But basically you just take this, push him in there. Got to get him flush with the body of the, I might have had to put some lubricant on that. Let me find my needle nose again. So lubricant consists of oil, gasoline, and I might have to clean that up first. That looks nasty in there. Oof to me. Anyway, I'm gonna have to clean this out first, but spit. Just put a little on your finger, put it around that O-ring, and she'll go right in. But I want to clean that out first, so I'm gonna spray her down with some carb cleaner. Now we'll put that in, bring you right back. Alright, spray job is done. I cleaned it up pretty nice. So now I'm just pushing this in. Hopefully I can push it in. She's a going now. There we are. And then you take this little shiny bolt or screw, which if you're not careful you'll lose it in my garage. You just take, it's a #1 Phillips for this carburetor. It might be different from whatever you're working on. But since I have these great big meat claws for fingers, everything takes about 25 minutes longer than it should. You just tighten that back up. There will be no ugga-duggas on this. Just get her good and snug and then stop. Otherwise you stand a really good chance of stripping out the Phillips top or snapping it off in there and causing more troubles. We don't need those. I have enough. Alright, the next thing, we're going to attempt and not lose, hopefully, the pieces I need. Find which one I have open. Is the needle. And this one looks to me like it's got a solid metal tip on it. Usually they've got a rubber tip, so this metal one might be better. Or it's a silver rubber. Sorry, it's a silver rubber. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, it's a rubber piece, and it's got this handy little clip on it. Now if I can find one of them I haven't dumped out yet. Huh. There's one I have dumped out, but it's close. You want to hang this on this metal bar, which is easier said than done. And then somewhere in there's a spring that goes on that. And then you just have a rod that goes through, and on this particular setup, it has a specific length bar, and the short end will go over here, the longer end will go over there. Then there's another screw that tightens up and holds that bar in place. So let me get that done. I'll show you the finished product. So in this application, I'm mistaken. There's no spring, but if you see a little wire across the top here, that holds the needle. And whenever this opens and closes, it does the same thing that spring was supposed to do. Just keeps it in place, doesn't let it flop around in there. So we didn't need the spring, which is good, because the one they gave was like super stiff and would never let fuel through. And you can see here, that's that screw I was telling you about that holds this bar into place. Normally on a regular carburetor, you'd slide it through a hole, then through the float, and then through another hole, and that would hold it in place. This one, they did away with all that. And I did go look through all of the vents, or all the jets, and they're all clear, so I'm not worried about that. Only thing I've got to come up with is these drain tubes, the overflows. I don't have any rubber hoses. So apparently when the last guy was working on this, he yanked them all off and threw them away and didn't replace them. Another reason why I'm never going back to him. So that's pretty much it. I'll replace this one and put everything back together, and then we'll slap the carburetor in, hopefully, before the day's out. I still have 5 hours. Okay, I've got the carburetor back in. Took a little finagling. I had to loosen this bolt down here. If I can show it to you. Take that bolt clear out. Loosen that top bolt. Rotate the manifold gasket so I can get this side put in. But once I got that done, everything rotated back. And I got it all tightened down. Next, and I also put in my heat shield. So now I'm going to run the gas line from the tank and the one that goes to the carburetors. I'm going to fight that through underneath here. And then I'm going to put the tank on and we'll fire it up, power up the pump, and see if anything puts any fuel out. Hopefully it doesn't. I did have trouble with this carburetor. The bolt that holds that needle seat in, or the nut, screw or whatever it's called. Anyway, it didn't want to come out. I tried everything I could except for heat. And then I decided, well, let's not destroy it any more than we have to, just see if we can try it and see if it'll work. So I'm not putting the plenum back on. Just gonna throw things together and see if I fix my leaks. That actually went easier than it ever has anytime I've taken that off, which has only been once before, maybe twice, I don't know. That hose I was putting on, I don't think I ever put it back on. So then we got that done. Maybe things will work better, I don't know. I've got the battery on boil right now, so I'm going to reassemble all of this. Sorry about that. You're on my stick now. And yeah, we'll just keep putting things together until things don't want to go together. And then when the battery gets charged up enough, we'll try starting this again. It may turn out that I need a new starter, I don't know. I mean, it cranks over pretty good, but firing doesn't want to happen right now. And I'm not sure why. All my fuses are good, but like I said, we'll try this and see what happens. Focus, camera. You can do it. Yeah, right down there where you see that extra piece of rubber. That's supposed to line up. And nothing was going in. I mean, it's not in all the way, but it's in good enough. But yeah, that wasn't going in. And yes, I did replace it. So I'd take them back off, line them back up. And then there's some kind of vent coming off the top of the carburetor. I had the position in the center of this. And then got that all forced into place. And I got everything hooked back up. This little piece here has always been a pain in the neck to get put back in. So I had to fight with that quite a bit. Anyhow, we're getting closer to making an attempt to find this thing. Let that battery cook a little bit longer. Maybe that'll help. Maybe I need a new battery. My little handy dandy cheapy charger thingy. Right down here. Got this off of the Amazon website. Right now it's charging. It also does repair and does turbocharge. Obviously I haven't done it. But it was reading 12 and the starter could barely kick over. I'm thinking about different new starter. Which that'll be a few dollars I don't have again. But we'll see what we can do. If we can get it to fire, then I'll be very happy. But I'm telling you. Well, my little dog is calling me for lunch, so we're gonna go do that and then we'll finish putting some things on. I've got these little plastic covers down here I need to put on the front. Hopefully that doesn't bolts on the ones. That's smart to put them back. Was that smart? Well, I'm gonna have to find them. There's a pile I can cover a couple of weeks ago, so gotta be fun. Joys of working in very limited space. I'm used to it. Alright, we'll be back after lunch. I got something to show you, folks. After all that work, putting everything back together, don't mind the hand. I don't know how to do this anymore. But, for the most part, she is back together. And I've already had it running just now. My friends, is the sound of happiness. Yay! My beast lives! Well, now I gotta put the seat on and all the other stuff, which will take about an hour or so. Probably. If not, it should have. And great, I'm happy. I don't have fuel leaking. I did replace the one coil. Apparently that was what I needed to do. So we got stuffs. And the reason why I had my hand down there, I was checking to make sure both of them are firing because there was one that I don't think was. But we have things. So Let me get the chrome and stuff put back on. I'll get the saddlebags on after I push it outside, and then I'll show it to you then. This is good news for me, very good news. I haven't ridden this motorcycle in, well, I tried last year and it died on me. Now we know why, because it was filling the crankcase full of fuel and filter was clogged. But now we've got all that taken care of. Very happy. Very, very happy. Hey, cat. Get him, get him. I don't know if you saw the cat or not. There's some black stray cat running around out here. Black and white. Kind of cool looking cat. But that is fantastic. All right, let me get the rest of this stuff put back on and we'll pull her out. And since it's going to rain tomorrow, we'll get it cleaned off by nature, and then we'll clean the rest of it with a power washer. So I'm very happy, very happy. So after searching the internet for a while, as you can tell, I now have the coil attached. And I found out you don't have to take that metal bracket off to get into here. There's a grommet here, rubber thing here, and somewhere back in this mess, which you probably can't see. Oh, I think there it is. There's one there. And you can pull this completely off because there's the two ends that slide in, and right here in the bottom, that goes in that bottom piece. So I now have the coil replaced, and the reason why I wanted to replace it so bad, if I can find it back here on the floor, I found it. It's here. The broken hand won't let me pick it up. That guy, looking kind of rough. So, and again, it's not running, but I think it's because there's bad gas in there. I need to get it removed. But now we have a different coil in there. Happiness. So we'll get that tightened up and buttoned up and everything put back on, and I'll dump the gas out of the gas tank and, you know, professionally or whatever, recycle it. You know how I did the last time. And let's see if that'll make a difference. Anyhow, just thought I'd let you guys in on that little secret. As this, if I hold my teeth right, pray to the right gods, and use two hands, I'll slide right back in there. So let me get that done before I drop it on the floor and break it. And there you have it. It is back in place. Now you got to put all the covers back on. Get rid of some of the critters in here. Be gone, you. I think I got him out. Alright. So that's how you do that. Now I don't know what that hooked to anymore. So we'll just let him be. I'm sure there was something I broke off. But anyhow, maybe I'll put a zip tie on that and hold it up a little bit. Probably wouldn't hurt. But we are done with that. And like I said, I'll dump the gas out and get that thing fired up, and we're back to waiting for the pieces and parts for the seat. And that'll be it. Cross my fingers, hope this thing runs soon. Oh guys, we do have updates. Lights are working. Motorcycle's back apart again, but it's back together. And what's even better, hopefully this will work. As my pump catches up, I forgot to turn the gas off. Myself between the bike and the car, so why not? Yep, that's what I'm looking for. And now that I found the extra bolt, I can put all the seats on again. I'm very happy. Now I gotta send stuff back. Oh well, that's all right. It's been a good day. I am very happy to get to ride the motorcycle again. Woo! Well, here it is. The motorcycle is running and doing just fine. You know, these are old saddlebags, like I told you. Of course, a bird got it already. But I've taken it out for a couple of runs real quick, or after I got it running, I got the coils replaced and did stuff with the carburetor, got everything lined back up, and it is running really well. Just took it up to the local convenience store to get some bread for my dog, but yeah, it's running just fine. So, very happy with it. Again, I learned how to take that little chrome piece off. And hopefully that's where it's supposed to be dangling. I think it is. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention when I took it apart. Did have to put a little extra oil in it. I put in the 3 quarts that it says, but apparently I needed more for when it filled up the filter, so a little red light comes on. Doubt if you'll see it. Yeah, it's right here. It's the oil light. It come on and said, "Hey, we're low." So I put about half a quart in, and it's not angry anymore. So that's it for the motorcycle. Hope you enjoy the video. I can't turn you around, so I gotta shut this off. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, some button I was pushing was making me confused, which doesn't take much. This is what I wear when I ride my motorcycle, keep my bald head from blistering. But yeah, it's running great. Again, I appreciate everyone who watches my videos. Like I said, comments, whatever, I do pay attention to them. Please let me know what you think. We'll be probably going back to working on the Belvedere soon. I don't know when, because we got a massive project going on at work, so that's gonna keep me out of the garage for a while. Of course, now the little flies are out trying to eat my eyeballs. Yum yum. So we will get another video out as soon as I possibly can, but it might be another month. So just wait for the notification, and hopefully you're all still there. I do apologize for the time it takes me to get videos out. Like I said, we're just busy. It all of a sudden got warm, and people I work, the customer we work for, has just got a lot of stuff going on, and it's piling up right now. So hopefully I can ride this to work. I don't have a mount for the motorcycle to put the phone or a camera on right now. So probably won't take you along for any of the rides. Sorry about that. But anyway, we will see you again next time.